When you navigate to the blood pressure testing screen, which we're covering in this video, you would go to the app navigation screen and click on the blood pressure testing button. Follow that up if you need to by doing the blood pressure log, looking at an individual record, or you can go to the blood test list view. Now, you can also go to the individual records by clicking on the portal button over here at the edge of the screen for whatever record you want to view. There is a list view that looks at all the records for all the blood tests for all the people that might be getting their blood tested in this application. Now, in order to start a new record, you would click on Add Record. And in this case, you would put in your name. Now, you can put this in there any way you want to. You can put the name, and you can add in there maybe for May, June, July, August, whatever it is, or you can do a 6-month or a year. It doesn't make any difference, but you would collect the data for that period of time that you're actually adding data in here. So for example, we're in the month of June. You could do it monthly if you wanted to, starting from the first day of the month, and then have a record that says June or JUN on the record. You can create as many of those as you want to in this application for each person. Now, if you wanted to add a new person, click on the Add button, put their name in, and then when you pop the drop-down list, it'll have the person's name in there that you would go ahead and add. Now, if you have a current record in there and you're working, you would always go to the blank record and add a new record. And when you do that, it'll bring up the name, you insert the name, and now you have a new blood pressure test that you're going to be working with. If you take a look at that and you've added the name, all you have to do is add the date from the drop-down for the current date that you're going to be doing the test. The next thing is you always put your cursor in the field, and if you click on this button up here where it says testing time, it'll automatically insert the current time into the field. This saves you time and effort. Clicking out of it. The next one is actually a test status, and I'm going to show you what you do with the test status. If you click on this field and you get a drop down, you're going to have all these current test statuses in here. You can add to those test statuses in here, and the reason we have a drop down like this, you can actually edit this list. Now, if you use this list and start using it, do not, once you change something in there, like I say, if I went over to the test status screen and I wanted to change, say after workout, maybe I wanted to put there during workout or something like that, I could add another one by going ahead and first of all clicking off this, going to test status. I'd go in and add a new record. This will go blank. You can add that record in there by typing it in. If you need to just edit that particular thing, for example, maybe I want to have before exercise, I might want to say after exercise, which is probably already in there. Okay, at the very top. Say I wanted to do something a little different, or maybe you're going to work out on a device like a stepper or something like that, or doing push-ups or whatever, and you want to say after push-ups or before. You can do any of those you want, and then you can edit these records by just clicking in the edit button and modifying this. Once you create records using any of these, do not change them thereafter as far as the individual one. Like for example, if I never did anything with before sleep and I wanted to edit that and change it to something else, you could do it as long as you haven't used it already. Okay, let's navigate back to the actual blood test screen. Now, when you have your device, which is the blood tester that you purchase so that you can do the blood pressure testing, you would run the test, and obviously it would give your different readings. For example, your systolic, diastolic, and pulse rate. These are the three important ones that you see on your device. You would type them in here by entering them in the field, and whatever those values are, they would be averaged down here at the bottom. So for the items that are in here currently, there would be, for example, 148 is the average, 148.8. The diastolic is 79.3, and the pulse rate average is 56.5. Now, there are different reasons you would get different pressures. What you will be doing is you're going to be using the app navigation to go look at the medical websites and get more efficient and smarter with the knowledge you're going to gain on what these actually mean and how averaging them can give you a better reading of the persistent pressures you should see over a period of time. You may see something in here depending on what you're doing. Say, for example, you just finish exercising and you want to see what your blood pressure is. Obviously, it's going to be a little higher. And then you would look over here and you'd see like it says before exercise. If I had one after exercise and I waited maybe 10 or 15 minutes and I wanted to see what my blood pressure would do with a change, I could put it in there. You can also do this if you want to. You can create a record, a separate one, that you do any kind of exercises with, and you're looking at your blood pressure before and after exercise, and you can have a separate record just for that purpose. Now, in the portal record itself, just to differentiate which each field does, there's a notes field in here. So, and we're on the blood pressure log now, which brings over the data for the record that you actually entered, the individual one, and that's that date and time. You can go over here and say, for example, this was a before exercise, and I put a thing in there about a note, and I took my blood pressure before the exercise, and then afterwards I did another one. I could do a note in that one where the status here is after exercise, and then write something in there. Now you can, just to get a little creative, you can also have a separate listing just for exercises, period, and have before and after, before and after, before and after, and run them so you can see what your low and high is before exercise and compare that to what it is after exercise. And then put those two different statuses in there. Here's one after relaxation, for example. Maybe you did a blood pressure, relaxed for an hour or so, and then ran it again, and then you would see what this is. The same thing is for meals, before, after meals, and so forth. When you're taking blood pressure in different circumstances, it's going to give you a much better picture of what your average is and how your average is affected by whatever activity you're doing. So the test status is used as the activity that you're doing either prior, before, or during. So this is kind of important. It gives you a better picture of all the things that your body's doing as far as blood pressure. A lot of people just get a blood pressure reading when they go to the doctor, and you could put that in there if you wanted to, but it's not going to give you a picture of what your real situation is when you're doing things. Say, for example, you're working outside and you're digging a hole and it's high temperature, and you come back in and all of a sudden now it's 161/90 and the pulse rate's up to 63. That's probably not going to work out so well because it's going to change the average with a kind of a over-the-top reading. So you may, in different places as far as setting up these records, you could set one up for exercise or labor or whatever it may be, and then compare that compared to something else where it's kind of just average things that you're doing, like relaxation, having a meal, or getting up in the morning and taking your blood pressure. Okay, that being said, if you need assistance or have additional information, there's two ways you can do that. Navigate to the medical website. Look at the information on the medical website to gain more information. There are individual websites, and we're going to talk about that when we get there, that you can look at, and they have multiple links to look at other things in those websites. Okay, let's do the Do Action menu. Is on all the screens. Now, you cannot do a search. In this case, like I says, find up here, searching for records. I would start a find, I would add data, but you can only add it in the field that is not in a portal record where you have multi-line things. If you want to do a search from there, you would go into the portal record and look for specific things. Like, for example, I want to see all the before exercises in the list view so I can see what they did. Now, here's where this really kind of works interesting. If you do that, you can also say, I want to look at the list view with all those in here and then look at my averages on that screen on the list view to see how they work out there. Okay, so let's go ahead and take care of that. We're going to stop here and then we're going to come back actually and cover a little bit more as we go through different screens as far as how to perform a find, how to show all, and so forth, and moving between records. Basically, because we're in the blood testing screen, there's only one field that is usually searched on. So here we'll be going back and looking at list view and doing more differentiation on how that works. So let's go ahead and stop now, and then we're going to come back and we're going to navigate from here to the blood pressure list view and then do some individual items on that list, on that tutorial. Thank you.